Wrestling Podcast listeners, help us out and click subscribe to show your support. And while you're at it, if you are sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 every year on the latest, greatest wrestling video game, stop doing it. Shoot over to Facebook, get an account, and go to Wrestler Unstoppable. 100% completely free, fully customizable wrestlers. Get involved in storylines, sign contracts, do everything that you could possibly want to do in the world of professional wrestling, all for free at Wrestler Unstoppable. And while you're at it, if you want to become a member of the Fro Wrestling Podcast Patreon family, go to patreon.com/Fro Wrestling Podcast. Get yourself early access to our tournament voting. Get us opportunity to see content before everybody else. And more importantly, for this month, if you are a $25 a month contributor, you will be a guest host with me on our Going Live episodes, as well as for our $10 a month subscribers, you have the opportunity to have your name put into a drawing for you to also host one of our Going Live episodes. We would love to co-host with you. By all means, check that out at patreon.com/Fro Wrestling Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Fro Wrestling Podcast. Please do not forget our voting for the greatest female wrestler of all time is going on right now. It is the voting brackets are on our homepage. If you've never been to our homepage before, it is www.frowrestling.com, where you can cast your vote. We are down to the final 64 female talents. It is a who's who of historic names in the world of women's professional wrestling. Please check that out. Get your votes in right away. Go to frowrestling.com, click on our tournament tab, and cast your vote today. It is a very exciting tournament. You guys have done a great job of putting out there some, just picking some great winners. This has led to the opportunity for us to see some never before seen matches, some great pairings, and it's very exciting to see where this is headed. So go to frowrestling.com, cast your vote today. For everybody else, this episode, we want to get into all the news and rumors floating around in the world of professional wrestling. We're going to kick things off with what I find to be a fascinating and perplexing situation between Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. So, for those who don't already know, Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake have been diehard friends since they broke into the business together as the Boulder Brothers. They toured all through Memphis, the Continental area, went down into Florida, and pretty much after that, Hulk Hogan, when his character, his persona went wild and Hulkamania started going crazy, he's a big part of why Brutus the Barber Beefcake, real name Ed Leslie, was brought to World Wrestling Entertainment, and he created such a great character for himself, originally being a part of the Dream Team with Greg the Hammer Valentine, winning the WWF World Tag Team Championship, and eventually splitting from that tag team, going face and getting what is probably his greatest gimmick of all time, the Barber character, which he got after WrestleMania 3 when he helped Roddy Piper shave the head of adorable Adrian Adonis, and ever since then, Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake have been pretty much inseparable. They were the Mega Maniacs or whatever going into WrestleMania 9, challenging for the Tag Team Championship. They stayed together when Hogan came to WCW and he became, the Booty Man, and eventually, other characters in the NWO and things of that nature. But the reality is they were always so close and so inseparable. Now they are engaged in an absolutely bitter Twitter war. And the reason for this is Brutus Beefcake has been writing a tell-all book to say all the hidden secrets about his experiences in the world of professional wrestling. And along the way doing that, apparently he's got frustration with Hulk Hogan. And the reason he has that frustration is apparently Hulk Hogan has been spending time with Brutus Beefcake's ex-wife. Now, I'm not trying to go to any place inappropriate, but I'm just saying when Hulk Hogan has a young wife of his own at home, I'm trying to understand why he's hanging with Brutus Beefcake's wife. Or ex-wife, who apparently does not allow their daughter to speak to him. She's kind of kept her away from him to the point that the daughter doesn't really want anything to do with her father, which is heartbreaking. As a parent myself, I can understand how that would be frustrating for Brutus Beefcake. So because Hogan's been hanging out with his ex-wife, he feels that Hulk Hogan has helped sour his ex-wife and his child away from him, have made it so that it's been even more uncomfortable, which is I can understand where Brutus is coming from. Now, I have seen the converse opinion about the matter, that Hulk Hogan is apparently like the godfather of their child, and Hogan's side is he was just going to visit his godchild. It's an awkward situation. Hulk Hogan has not always been known to be on the most up-and-up situation when it comes to other women. And I hope that it's not what it looks like on the surface, and I hope it really is him just visiting a goddaughter. But at the end of the day, on Twitter, these two are just going at it, to the point that Hulk Hogan, threatening legal action, even had his lawyer send letters to Brutus Beefcake threatening him, which Brutus Beefcake coincidentally posted on Twitter. He's not flinching. He's still going to release his book. And I thought it was funny that when Brutus Beefcake released those tweets from Hulk Hogan, or pictures in his own tweets about Hulk Hogan sending the letter, that Brutus Beefcake said that Hulk Hogan's overreacting, and what is he afraid of, and what does he have to hide? And really, if you're a Hulk Hogan fan, and there are many of them all over the world, let's face it, many of us would not even care about professional wrestling if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. That does not make him a great guy. That does not make him a great human being inherently. Yeah, I know the train, say your prayers, eat, take your vitamins and all that stuff sounds great, but we have to wonder how much of a great lifestyle Hulk Hogan has led in his life, and maybe, just maybe, everybody's hero, Hulk Hogan, maybe really could be a scumbag. Now, maybe that's not true. Maybe Hulk Hogan is completely legit here. Maybe he's hanging out with his goddaughter. Maybe Brutus Beefcake's too sensitive because it's his ex-wife and he still has some pining emotions for her. Or maybe he just thinks Hulk Hogan shouldn't be a part of that picture until his daughter is brought back into his life. But either way, both of these guys could be handling this differently. You've had all these years, 30 or so years, 40 years, if you think about when they first broke into the business in the 70s, where they've had the opportunity to really come together and be such a huge force in the evolution of professional wrestling. And instead of focusing on that, Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake have let all that go by the wayside, forgetting that they had fans that really believed in their friendship, and instead they have all this heat going on back and forth on Twitter. It's really sad to see two people who for so long were so close, now having issues and being so far apart. Going to move on to our next topic. We're going to talk about the update for Survivor Series. WWE and their infinite genius marketing department releasing the poster for Survivor Series, totally giving away storyline. We can't even make this stuff up. WWE has got to have one of the worst promotional engines in the world. No matter how big their company is, no matter how good they think they are, they suck when it comes to keeping things a secret from the internet wrestling community, who then ends up ruining their surprise value. People wonder why WWE viewership is down. It's because they are so bad at guarding their secrets that the whole world knows everything they're doing weeks and days before they tell anyone. So the big thing this week is they released the Survivor Series poster. On the poster, there is Jinder Mahal, there's Brock Lesnar, and standing right between the two, as has been speculated on for weeks now, John Cena as the special guest referee wearing a referee shirt. They haven't announced that on Raw or on SmackDown. So the incredible laziness of their department who handles their promotions is mind-boggling, that they would give away that John Cena is going to be at the pay-per-view before you even announce it on television. That's bad planning. That's incredibly horrible planning and no long-term thinking. If you have a feeling like John Cena is going to be your special guest referee, if you don't want to announce Cena, you at least announce that there's going to be a special guest referee. And that way people could speculate on it. There was conversation about The Rock coming in or Stone Cold Steve Austin coming in. You could have easily put up a poster with Brock and Jinder Mahal and not put any referee up there, maybe just put up a referee shirt. And then when the pay-per-view gets there, people will be talking. Is it going to be The Rock? Is it going to be Austin? Is it going to be Cena? And then when Cena comes out, even though people thought it was going to be Cena, many, they're still going to have a little bit of shock value. Instead, the whole internet wrestling community knows it's John Cena. They know it's a done deal. There's no mystique or intrigue about whether it's The Rock or Stone Cold or some other person who would be just as exciting. No, we already know it's John Cena. And not only do we know it's John Cena, but WWE didn't even have the courtesy to tell us. Their marketing department had to screw up and release the poster before they do the storyline on television, and that's how we all know already. That's pathetic. The next topic I want to talk about is Triple H. What a bizarre week it is for Triple H, going down to South America to perform last week. And then this week, he's on the European tour because Roman Reigns is still out due to his mumps situation. And Triple H has joined the Shield on this European tour, to the point that he's even doing the 3-fist pump. You know, I understand, you advertise the Shield reunion for the European tour and you don't want to let fans down, but this really doesn't make much sense since the last time we saw Triple H in the ring with Seth Rollins, or in the ring in general, was at WrestleMania losing to Seth Rollins. These two should hate each other. It makes no sense. Now, the only reason I would be okay with this is if on Monday night some storyline was planned where he came out and helped Seth and Dean, in the stead of Roman Reigns. I'd be okay with it then. Because you can't get away from the pictures that are everywhere and everything else. Then he even went on to Twitter and shot a thank you to Seth and Dean. Why would the game, the cerebral assassin, this incredible overheel, come out and thank two of the biggest baby faces right now on the Raw brand for allowing him to join the Shield for the tour? That's lunacy. Unless you're going to back it up with a legitimate storyline. Now, speaking of Triple H, the big conversation about him going forward is, as you saw on Monday night, if you were watching Raw, which if you're listening to this podcast, you better be watching Raw because you're missing good stuff. This past week was actually pretty good, as was SmackDown. But Triple H comes out, or didn't come out, Stephanie, I apologize, came out, and what we get to find out is there's friction with Stephanie and Kurt Angle. Which now, the internet rumor machine that is always out there is theorizing that this is going to lead to Triple H versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. So forget The Rock versus Kurt Angle. Or, I'm sorry, The Rock versus Triple H. Forget anybody else versus Triple H. It sounds like, and the storyline looks like, they're going to build towards a Triple H versus Kurt Angle match at WrestleMania, and I, for one, would love to see it. I know they've been in the ring countless times before, but how great would it be just to see two ring technicians? And you could say what you want about Triple H. I know people out there hate the guy because they think he buries people and everything else. Triple H is the reason that you have NXT right now. Triple H is the reason that you have people like Kevin Owens and Finn Balor and AJ Styles and Bobby Roode and Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, you name it. Those people would never be in the WWE marketing machine that they have if it wasn't for Triple H. So burying people is ridiculous to talk about at this point, since all he does is bring in people and give them opportunity now. Now, in his youth, yeah, you're darn right, he probably did bury people. You know why? Because that's what you do in the world of professional wrestling. You try to make it to the top and keep your spot. He's no different than Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, anybody else. You know who people give a hard time to? Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash actually didn't mind putting people over. Kudos to Kevin Nash. Class act. Hulk Hogan didn't want a job to anybody. Ric Flair, I will give Flair his due. Ric Flair lost that NWA World Heavyweight Championship a ton of times, but he also won it back in short order. I feel bad for Hands of Stone Ronnie Garvin. He wins the NWA title, kept it for a few days, and loses it back at Starrcade just to give Flair a big Starrcade win. People like that. Championship reigns, always with Flair, always with Hogan, Hart, Stone Cold, The Rock. The whole reason Stone Cold Steve Austin walked out on WWE in 2003 is because he didn't want to job to Brock Lesnar without any build. It wasn't about not jobbing. I will give Steve Austin his credit. He was willing to job to Brock Lesnar. He just wanted there to be build to it so there'd be a bigger payoff, which I completely agree with. But that's why he took his ball and went home, which he has said repeatedly on his podcast, the Stone Cold podcast, that he regrets that decision. But my point going back to this whole thing is that people complain about Triple H not putting people over. No established main event wrestler has ever wanted to, except for John Cena, the guy that people claim buries everybody. I love the promo he cut a few months ago when he talked about all the people he lost to. How many years it's been since he main evented a WrestleMania. All the people he has never given a bad match to and things of that nature. He's right. John Cena jobs out to everybody anymore. Heck, if Baron Corbin wasn't a tchotchke in the back before SummerSlam, I'm fairly confident Baron Corbin would have beat John Cena at SummerSlam. So that's the situation. So Triple H, I actually am hoping we get to see him and Kurt Angle in the ring. I think it would be great. He is a fantastic ring technician. He's a great wrestler, and he has the opportunity to put on an absolute mat classic with one of the greatest professional athletes in the history of any business. Kurt Angle is one of the most athletic human beings that pro wrestling fans have ever had the pleasure of seeing. I love that I'm from Philadelphia, and when he walks out to a Philadelphia crowd, he gets the reaction he does. And that's not me tooting Philadelphia. It is kind of. But the reality is, in cities around the country, the respect that you fans give to Kurt Angle is just, I get chills thinking about it. My kids, my family would tell you when I'm watching professional wrestling on television, I don't even care about the matches as much as I care about fan reaction. I will back up and replay people's entrances more than anything. Because to me, that is the most fascinating thing about professional wrestling, is hearing the fans react to it. I love that. Gosh, if I was young enough, I'd go back, get trained, and I'd go do it just to hear it once for myself. It's awesome. So, going to move on, update the Neville situation. Everybody had speculated that when Neville walked out that they would negotiate his release from WWE, and apparently that is not the case. Vince McMahon is on a mission to send a message. Vince McMahon is not going to release Neville. He's going to make him sit on the sidelines and take his downside minimum guarantee and sit there, and he's willing to pay him to sit on the side so he can't go out into the independent scene and make a name for himself. Now, here's the thing, and here's where I'm going to take a risk at taking some flack from some of my listeners. There's a lot of people out there who are really frustrated with WWE's booking of Neville. They thought Neville should have been in a better position, and they think that his cruiserweight reign, though very lengthy, and where he pretty much dominated the division for the better part of the year, that it was not a good enough push for someone as talented as he is. And you know what? I agree with all of that. Here's my problem. Every wrestler who has ever made a name for themselves in this business has done it by paying their dues. Neville came into NXT and he set the world on fire in NXT. Won the tag team and the NXT championship. And that's awesome. He came to the main roster and he's the man that defies gravity, and he looked like Mighty Mouse, and he runs to the ring and does all this high risk stuff, and it's awesome. And then he got hurt, tore up his ankle, and he was out for the better part of a year. And when he comes back, he takes on this heel persona, which was probably his best work that I've ever seen. The heel Neville is incredible. But here's the thing. Neville would never be able to put on that persona if it wasn't green-lighted by WWE. If creative people and creative minds didn't try to get him to do that character. And so here's the thing. Yeah, I get it. 205 Live is not the desired place to be on the roster. And I really do understand that when he wrestled at WrestleMania, he and Austin Aries put on a clinic, and then their match wasn't even included on the DVD, so they lost out on some huge paydays, and I understand that completely. I do. Wrestlers look forward to WrestleMania all year long because that's the big payday. I am very sympathetic to that. But here's the reality, Neville. And I'm speaking directly to Neville, and I know he won't even listen to this podcast, but I'm hoping somebody tags him in a post or something and tells him to hear what I have to say, because I am a diehard Neville fan. I love Neville so much. I think his work may be on par with people the likes of Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair. I really, truly believe Neville is that talented. But Neville, you gotta understand something. You're in a wrestling world right now where, yes, you can go out into the independents and make a lot of money. And you can do that. But here's what you have to ask yourself. Are you in this business to make a bunch of money? Are you in this business to entertain the fans? Are you in this business to create excitement in new fans so you could sustain this business over the long haul? Because here's what I'm trying to get at. There are young people all over this country who know who Neville is because of WWE. The biggest part of your fan base, despite the fact that you may think it's older people, like say 18 to 35, yeah, they know who you are, but you know who really loves you is the children, the kids, the little kids who look at you and they say, even when you were a heel character, that you were the most spectacular wrestler in the company. And here's what I have to say. I know your role in the company wasn't fair. You should be pushed as a world champion contender because you're that good. You are, or could have been, the future of WWE. If Finn Balor can be pushed as a Universal Champion, there is no excuse for Neville not to be pushed as a Universal Champion. But here's the issue. It doesn't always go that way when you want it to. And now, because of the way you exited the company, because of the way you left, Vince McMahon is blackballing you and all those kids who are dying to see you perform. And all those 18 to 35s like myself who would love, I'm not 35, I'm 41, I'm just saying, would love to see you perform. We want to see you on WrestleMania main events. We want to see them push you the right way. But if you can't figure this out, and I'm sure you're smart enough to do this because you're incredible, they are so loaded with talents right now. There are plenty of people and I don't even have to, I could put on an endless list. Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, and a host of others, the Ty Dillingers, the Breezangos, all those types of people who really deserve more are in lesser positions than you were. You were the Cruiserweight champion. You had a championship strap that you carried to every event. And the kids around the country, I don't know if anybody told anybody this, but the Cruiserweight Championship belt was the #1 selling replica championship the last 12 months. And it's not because it's purple, and it's not because it's Cruiserweights, and it's not because of Kalisto or Enzo or anything like that. It's because Neville, you made that division what it is. So, yes, I understand the frustration with the booking. I do. There's not a wrestler who's wrestling today who hasn't been frustrated for extended periods of time with their booking. But the truly best in the business wrestlers rise above that so they could deliver to their fans the constant action that made the character who they are as successful as they are, and eventually there's a payoff. And look, don't get me wrong. If WWE never figured it out, I'm okay with you leaving. Do it the right way so you don't burn a bridge. So you can come back to this legion of young fans who love you. Because if it takes 10 years for you to come back, every one of those 8-year-olds who loved you are going to be 18 and dying to see you come back. Much like Kurt Angle's getting that love and adoration right now from a younger audience because they were the children when he left. So my frustration in the whole situation is I don't mind that he wanted the release. I don't have a problem with him leaving the company. I have a problem with how it happened because it took away what Neville seems to be most concerned with, which is delivering exciting and entertaining matches to his fans. The exposure necessary to be able to deliver that talent to the largest number of fans possible. And the patience that so many other wrestlers have had to have, he didn't have. And so now he's gone, and Vince McMahon is making him sit on the side. I can't tune in to Access Television, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and see Neville. I can't tune in to Ring of Honor. I can't tune in to Impact Wrestling or Lucha Underground and see Neville because Neville's stuck on the sideline because Vince is a pig-headed, stubborn old man who thinks he owns the wrestling business. We all know that that's not the case now, but you know what he does own? And I'm sorry Ring of Honor, and I'm sorry Impact Wrestling, I'm sorry Lucha Underground, and I'm sorry New Japan. Vince McMahon owns the children. Because he is the #1 dominant promoted company in the world, and he gets exposure to the children. That's why WWE will never shrink. It'll always get better. Because the young people that are exposed to WWE, because they are the biggest platform, are going to grow as they grow, and then will become diehards of the future. And that's why Neville needs to be in WWE. Yes, he needs his break. Yes, he needs the right push. He probably needs more money. He needs much more appreciation from the company, because I know he has it from the fans. We love you. But got to do things the right way in this business, because I hate seeing you burn a bridge to what could have been an incredible future. You should be the Universal or WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And now it may never happen. Moving on. This is kind of a strange episode for me because actually I'm not doing this episode live. I've been doing those pretty much consistently lately, but I have some scheduling conflicts this week and I wanted to make sure I got you an episode out. But also all the dialogue. I don't usually go this deep into conversations and whatnot, but I really want you guys to understand how I feel about these things. The next thing is, I'm going to talk about Impact Wrestling. They're now seeking a cross promotion with Ring of Honor. Apparently, this is something that was in the works in the past, and now it looks like there's some teeth to it. Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling have worked together in the past. There's a great relationship between their booking committees and their creative members, and this could be big for both. I actually hope this works out, but there was constant conversation this week that they are working towards hopefully establishing a working relationship with one another, creating an opportunity for talent exchange, cross-promotion, and bigger events. This is good news for wrestling fans. It's something I'm really hoping comes through, and I really hope that they realize how monumentally impactful this could be right now, because WWE does dominate everything. This is a way to make something very exciting. Can you imagine matches like the Young Bucks going in and taking on OVE, somebody they've never faced before, or seeing matches between Bobby Lashley going against Dalton Castle, or whatever. You pick the matchups. There is so much there. Or because of the working relationship between Ring of Honor, New Japan, and apparently Impact Wrestling also reaching out to New Japan. Just see the match in your head. Somebody like Alberto El Patron taking on Kazuchika Okada, or Okada taking on Bobby Lashley, or any other number of combinations you can think of. This could be a very, very exciting thing. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next time for all the latest news and rumors on the world of professional wrestling. Special thanks as always out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing all the music and sound effects we use throughout our shows. Thanks as always to alleyrepair.com. Contact Alley Repair today for servicing of all your classic skee-ball, pinball, and arcade game needs. And don't forget to go to our website at frolifeplanning.com if you need assistance with college, universities, just getting that alternate career path where you need additional training. That's what we specialize in. Please don't forget that Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Mr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today. And if you're looking for more wrestling news and rumors, go to www.sportsjunkies101.com for the latest articles on the world of professional wrestling. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.